Hello and welcome to another live video. In this video I will be having a look at the Opera browser but the beta version on my Galaxy tablet. Now, as you all know, we've had a look at many browsers and we've probably looked at quite a few versions of the Opera browser. So just to give you a heads up, the Opera browser is done by the Opera company, I think, and they do the Opera Mini browser, and they do Opera Mini Beta, and they do the Opera browser and the Opera Beta. They also do the Opera Touch browser, and finally they do the Opera News. Now, beta versions, by the way, enable you to test updates that Opera plans to introduce into its browsers, so you can detect any bugs that may be in those potential updates. So we probably had a look at the Opera browser beta on my Fire tablet, but sometimes different screen readers will work with different browsers differently, and the Google Talkback on the Fire tablet certainly demonstrates that. Sorry, the Google Talkback on my Galaxy Tab A behaves differently than the voice view on my Fire tablet. So sorry if I got that one. Okay, so after installation, it is called Opera Beta. It would be nice though if it was called Opera Browser Beta, because then people may know what the app really is. But that is that. Okay, so we've got your agreement screen. So we're going to click continue. And it's got like a tutorial, so welcome to Opera Beta. And it's got disallow, and again I thought it would be allow or deny rather than disallow. It sort of sounds a little bit strange, but that is that. Now, as you can see, you've got a number of pages. You've got Facebook, Google, Instagram, and Amazon, row 6, column. So this table is, well, this is in a grid format, but I think the rows sort of go across rather than down. Usually it will be the other way around, so the rows go down and the columns go across. So perhaps the app developers sort of got their rows and columns all mixed up. And again, I nearly thought that I was in a portrait configuration, because again, some maps don't really stick to your orientation preferences. So I like to use this tablet in a landscape configuration because this is a 9.7, but I have seen apps that sort of override my preferences and stick to portrait. So it would be nice if they sort of swap the labeling around with the columns and the rows. So it got a new tab icon, got a search and address bar icon. It also tells you how many tabs are open, which is very good. So that was a very good advantage there. Now, unfortunately, it has got some unlabeled buttons, and again, screen reader users are not going to know what those buttons do and what they are. So it would be nice if they use text icons. If they wanted to use symbols, that's fine, but as long as they're text there. That would be ideal. I'm going to click on one button and see what that does. Okay, so that's sort of brought up the browser menu. That was in the top left hand corner. So again, it would be nice if it said menu or open navigation drawer or something of that nature. So in this menu, you've got history, bookmarks, offline pages, and what is really nice is it is in a list, which is a very good advantage because it's not like the Opera Mini Beta where the grid was a little bit all over the place. The menu now on the Opera Mini Beta was in a grid format, but the grid was a bit all over the place, whereas this is very simple list as opposed to a bad grid line. Okay, so you've also got ad blocking, and you've also got a night mode option. The night mode filters out certain colours and sort of helps produce the sleep producing melatonin. Melatonin helps you go to sleep, it's like a hormone, and certain colours can interrupt the production of that hormone. So the fact that you've got a night mode option is very good. And also, if you have an older device that might not have the night mode option, so the night mode option in the browser is like a good fail-safe there. You can use pages offline, which is very good. You can manage your downloads, and I think there is an unlabeled button in the menu again, but I'm not gonna mess around with that. So you can sign in to your accounts should you have Opera browser installed on more than one device. Data saving, VPN, ad blocking. You got the night mode again, and it's disabled. I should have really said in the browser menu that I didn't really see a new tab or incognito tab. An incognito sort of leaves no trace in your browsing history because a new tab is like a session. So it would be nice if they had a new incognito tab option in the menu as well. But what is that? The settings is a nice big window, however it doesn't really take up the whole area of the screen, but it's big enough, so I'm not really going to quibble all that much. Crypto wallet. Open a new tab after 2 hours of inactivity. Language. Default browser, you can set it as your default browser should you desire. New tab open in background. Homepage. So you got large icons. I might click large icons. It was already set to large icons by default. So sorry about that. So it's got news, reader mode and language interest. So you can access your news feed without you having to go onto a news website, which is very good. And you've got your search engine preferences. And the default search engine is Google by default. Now it would be nice if the search engine, given its importance, was at the top. The search engine interprets what you have typed into the address bar or the edit box provided by the search engine and brings up the relevant information. So it would be nice if it was more at the top than where it is. So let's have a look at the preferences. Google, Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo, Amazon, eBay, IMDb, Wikipedia. So you have got quite a lot of search engine preferences at your desire, and popular ones as well. You can have a lot of search engine preferences, but they might not necessarily be the ones that are greatly used. So the fact that you've got Bing and Google are very good, and they're very widely used search engines. So you've got content, text options, force enable zoom, block pop-ups, default user agent. Again, it did say content above it, but the items below it are more accessibility as opposed to content. They could put accessibility and content viewing, I suppose. But what is that? And what is that? Okay. Next, what we try are our keyboard shortcuts. So the keyboard shortcuts that we do try are the Alt plus D command, which takes you to the address bar, and that doesn't really work. And we try the Control plus T command, and that doesn't really work either. So it doesn't look as though you can use keyboard shortcuts in this browser. I'm not too sure whether it is because I'm using an Android tablet, which is what my Galaxy Tab A is, or my Fire tablet. So I'm not too sure which is what. So we're going to look up the Cessna 182. As I was typing, the screen reader was keeping up with me in real time, so if you are a screen reader user that heavily relies on the screen reader when you are typing, that is going to be very important. One thing I'm noticing is I didn't really get a page indication, or I didn't really get an indication that the page is actually loading or whether search results are coming up. Now, something has popped up, but on some browsers, when you use a Bluetooth keyboard to type in the search results and press enter, if you are a screen reader user like myself, you would normally get some sort of indication that something is going on. Here, using the Opera browser beta, it just stayed silent, so that's something to be aware of. Just bear with me. Okay. So the page loading is it's not too fast, it's a little bit slower than browsers I have seen in the past, but again with no screen reader indication after my desired action, I'm not able to know how fast pages load unless I put my finger on the touch screen. So again, that is that. So let us have a listen to see how articles read.
Watch this page. Edit. Button. Edit the lead section of this page. The out of list. Cessna 182 Skylane.
So as you can hear, that the Google Talkback is switching from one voice to the other, and that can be very annoying. And also, if a website language is set to non-English by default, the voice desired or allocated to that language will also play, followed by a translation. And again, I would rather hear the English content as opposed to the original language followed by the English translation. So the fact that the Google Talkback is switching from one voice to the other is a disadvantage there, and it doesn't really do that in Firefox nightly, so I'm not too sure whether it's the browser working with the Google Talkback or whether it's a Google Talkback problem. I'm not too sure what it is. Lately, we have been looking at videos and particularly analysing the audio content, because some tablets have really good speakers, but some browsers don't use the speakers to their full potential. So what we have been doing lately is we have been playing a video and analysing the audio content emitted by the browser through the speakers. So just bear with me while I bring up a video. One thing as I am typing as well, I'm not interrupted by search suggestions or predictions should they come up on the screen while I'm typing, and again, that is very good. Alright, we're going to click on this video. Some browsers unfortunately set their YouTube videos to mute by default, which is a little bit of a nasty habit, and this browser has done just that. So we'll watch the video for a little bit and then we'll conclude things here.
Dogs are increasingly being used in Britain's war against crime. Tonight, on the front line with London's Dog Squad.
So sound quality is pretty good.
Searching for drugs.
So if you are using your tablet to watch YouTube videos through this Opera browser beta version, you're sure to get some good quality sound through your speakers. In conclusion, the Opera browser beta is fairly good. However, there are a few things you've got to be aware of. First of all is the browser home menu. There are some unlabeled buttons, so therefore you are not able to know what you are focusing on, and among the unlabeled buttons is the browser menu, which is on the top left hand corner. So if you are a screen reader user and you do plan to use the Opera browser beta, just remember that the menu is in the top left hand corner of the screen, so that is number one. Also, the menu list is on the left. Now, most browsers will have the menu list items on the very right hand side, so don't automatically scroll on the right hand side looking for items because they're on the left. So that's another thing you got to be aware of. There are search engine preferences, but they are sort of near the bottom of the settings area. You do have accessibility options, however they are listed under the content heading and they are not in a window that when clicked on sort of loads some options. However, video playback is fairly good, so you're sure to get a very good video playback experience. And overall, if you want to give the browser a go, then feel free to do so. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If any of you want to share your Opera browsing experience, either with the beta version or any of the Opera browser versions, then feel free to do so in the comments section, and I'll see you soon.